also have names. So in the previous example, our table was named T and our columns were named attribute 1 all the way through attribute n, right? And uh, generally for good programming practices, we would want our column names to be all lower cases. Sorry, our column names to be first character uppercases, and we want our tables to be all lower cases. We would also want to have only characters to be our starting point of our table names or attribute names or what have you. We can also start with underscores, but that is up to you. Um, but remember that again, these are all case insensitive, but that does not give you the right to write, you know, crazy stuff. So that is fine if you do, but just remember that please don't. Okay. So homework 2 will actually have a lot of SQL statements and how we can manipulate a database and things like that. So basically, I'm just warning you for those things. It is fine if you do, but please have some mercy on the team. Okay, so standard data types. So we have char. Char n is a character field that is a fixed width character data type of n characters. So essentially we are talking about domain types, right? So we talked about attribute names that can be anything. And now we are talking about the domains of those attributes. So character n is a fixed sized character block. You also have something called varchar n. Varchar n is a variable with character field with a maximum length of n. So character n has a fixed size of n. Varchar n has a variable width that has a maximum length of n. So there is a subtle difference between those two, not so subtle actually. So let's say that I define a particular attribute, let's say branch name. Right, branch name can be Los Angeles, New York, Seattle, all of those things. And we say that our branch name, and let's say that somebody has assigned you to design a database for bank accounts, right? So it is up to you whether you want to use a char or a varchar for a branch name. So what would you prefer? So a char has a maximum size of n. So let's say that 20 characters per se. So we can't have branch names greater than 20 characters, that is fine. However, if we are using chars, that means that, let's say that we just have a branch name called, what's the shortest city? Let's go with New York, right? So New York, so NEW space YORK. So we have 8 characters, right? So we have 8 characters in our branch name. So if we are using char as our domain name and we say that it is char 20, so n is 20, char is going to pad out the remaining characters with spaces or null bytes because it needs to maintain a fixed 20 character width for all characters. Varchar, on the other hand, would make sure that New York is 8 characters, so it would only save 8 characters for that particular thing, and it won't use the entirety of those 20 characters. That saves us a lot of memory. However, consider this and remember this from your programming classes. The character n basically means that we have a fixed size of n characters. However, varchar n means that it can be of variable length, but with a maximum length of n. So do you guys remember how we handled variable string lengths in your programming classes? I'm sure you don't, but just to guess, imagine that you are a database. You need to maintain and print out variable character names on assign memory locations or memory values for those variable character lengths. We would need something that maintains the length of that string as well for variable characters, right? So if it is New York, I need to save both New York and that it has 8 characters, right? Because if I want to print out all of those things, I want to print out New York up till the 8 characters because that is the variable length. So varchar also saves the number of characters that we have along with it being variable length and maximum being n characters. Then we have something called int field, right? So integers basically in this, in most database systems are typically represented using 32 bits. Uh, I'm sure that I don't have to explain bits and bytes to you guys, but just to check, because some of you are undergrads, how many bits are one byte? Could you type it in the chat window? Okay. How many bits? So since you guys know so much, how many bits is in a nibble? Hmm. Cool. Okay. So integer data types are essentially 32 bits. So that is 4 bytes. We also have other versions of integers, that is tiny int, that is 8 bits, small int, that is 16 bits, and big int, that is 64 bits of integer values. And everyone understands what is the relation between the range of values that I can store versus the number of bits that I allocate, right? So tiny int allows for 8 bits of integers, whereas big int allows for 64 bits of integers. Quick factoid. Quick factoid. Initially people just used 32-bit integers, right? And suddenly Facebook also used 32-bit integers because Facebook needed a database. Obviously, every big company needs a database, and Facebook basically used the int. And at some point back in 2015 or 2016, Facebook decided that int is not enough for user IDs, and they moved to big int. So basically use 64 bits for their user IDs. And that was a huge mess. Basically, people had to save their databases, and imagine saving Facebook's as a database, right? So imagine saving that. And you're not using just Facebook on your own, right? There's billions of people around the world, and you need to save that somewhere. You don't have enough memory for that. And basically you want to transfer the integer types to a big int and then save it back and upload it back to the database. So that was a huge thing back in the day. So yes, so that is the difference between tiny ints, small int, big int, and integers. Both char, remember, just to reiterate, both char and var have a size limit. Char is a fixed length character field, so you can store shorter strings, but it will pad out the rest of the area with the full size. However, varchar has a variable length. It does not pad out the shorter strings, but the length of the string must be stored with each of those string values so that we know that what is the size of this particular string. Um, um, can be very okay. So more data types, I guess. Now we have something called a numeric data type. So a numeric data type is a decimal data type that takes in two parameters. One is p, that is the total number of digits, and the second one is d, that is the number of digits after the decimal place. So if we have numeric 10,2, that means that we would have 8 digits before the decimal place and 2 digits after the decimal place for a total of 10. Let me type it. So numeric 10,2 means that we have 8. Let me give you an easier example. 4,2. That means that in total we have 4 digits, and after the decimal place we have 2 digits. So 99.22 is a numeric 4,2, because in total we have 4 digits and after the decimal we have 2 digits, right? However, 999.22 is not a numeric digit for 4,2. Okay. Does that make sense? So this is wrong in terms of numeric 4,2. This is correct. Okay. Then we have double precision and float precision. But before I do that, so Everyone understands that P is the total number of digits and D is the digits right of the decimal place. Different database implementations allow for different ranges for these numeric values. So for example, Postgres or PostgreSQL allows for P to be, I think, yes, allows for P to be 160,000 digits. Right, so numeric for PostgreSQL allows for 160,000 digits, and for others, usually for Oracle and MySQL, it allows for 38 digits at most. So keep that in mind when you are using different databases. Different databases implement these things differently. For the life of me, I have never used a database that has used 38 digits for its actual total value. And at that point, you're better off actually using characters or varchars to represent those individual digits. So why would we actually want to represent 38 digits of values there? Then we also have double precision values and floating point values. Floating point values usually get a parameter n, and usually that means that n is the number of bits of precision, but most databases, almost all databases, allow you either 24 bits of precision, that is your floating point precision, or allow you 53 bits of precision, that is your double precision. It does not allow you anything other than that. So this n is just weird, but it's there, right? So in general, those are your numeric data types for your decimal values. We would never use double precision or floating point values for our money, because it is usually an approximation, and um, everyone sort of understands how a double value is approximated in your computer, right? So it is not an exact value. So when we say 0.1, that particular number in your computer is usually represented as 0.00000, and hopefully that would end up being all zeros after that for all of your 53 bits. But that is not the case. At the end of the day, it ends up being some version of 0.000999999. So that is not the case, that we want to create an adding up of multiple balances together that we end up with an extra cent that we cannot account for. Right. So if we were adding up all the balances of all the bank accounts, we do not want an extra cent popping up just because there is a double precision error. So usually we want to use numeric values, that is decimal values with 2 precision after the digit, after the decimal point, to maintain your balances or for account balances. Things like that. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, yes.
So when you say a fixed point number, right? So let's say P is 4, but uh, will 9.22 count? Uh,
Yes,
the
9.22 will count because it is still within the 4-digit boundary. So let's say that P is 4, D is 2, then 9.22 will count because it is within the 2-digit boundary.
and what's a double precision again?
And before I get to double precision, let me ask you this thing. Let's say that P is 4 and D is 1. Would 9.22 make sense in this case?